Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Past and Picture Podcast with me, Amanda.
And me, Tony.
Yay!
Yay.
Episode 7, yes, and it's with me, so I'm gonna go for a little bit of a change of pace. So instead of talking about a specific film, I was actually inspired by a Rick and Morty episode
Oh,
where
God.
Rick and Morty go on this adventure.
Is it the
And
TV one?
yeah, and they
Love that one.
they come across like all different kinds of like plot devices and the way like stories are made and it affects like their adventure and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's a good episode. I should have rewatched it
Yeah.
really for this, but oh well. So anyway, that's what I wanted to have a little look at them and look at like different films where these like plot devices happen, which I thought would be quite fun. So just to let everybody know who's listening, this is like a full-on spoiler episode for so many films. I'll list them in the description, but there's quite a lot. And
I
then
don't even know what's coming yet.
yeah, Tony's got no idea. I've got 4 and a bit pages
Of
of
spoilers.
notes and stuff. But I've tried my best to go through like more modern films because a lot of it was like the Odyssey and Homer and like
Yeah.
classical sort of stuff because that's where a lot of these like story devices and the ways of telling stories were like created. It was the first records of making stories, so this is where a lot of it comes from. But I've tried to find modern sources, modern films where I can go, well, this happened in this film and
That's
this
good.
was what happened. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping this will be a good episode for everybody. It might be a bit
excited.
short.
I
Okay.
also, before we start, want to preface that this episode and next episode are being recorded remotely. Usually we're in
working
the
from
same
home.
room. Yeah, we're working from home this week. Usually we're in the same room. So we've done a test of what the audio is going to sound like, and I thought it sounded fine. But if it's not as good as usual, that's why.
Yes.
Just
It
a
just
disclaimer.
so happened that this weekend we just
Yeah.
couldn't be face to face. I think I prefer doing it face to face, but
Yeah.
oh well. Plot twist, which is also known as disambiguation. It's a literary technique that introduces a radical change in the direction or expected outcome of the plot in a work of fiction, specifically. When it happens near the end of the story, it's known as a twist or a surprise ending. This can change the audience perception of the preceding events or introduce a new conflict that places it in a different context. A plot twist can also be foreshadowed, which is what we'll look at later on as well, to prepare the audience to accept it, but it usually comes with some sort of surprise. So there's various methods used to execute a plot twist, such as withholding information from the audience or viewer, misleading them with ambiguous or false information, and not every plot has a twist, but some have multiple lesser ones, and some are more defined by a single major twist.
I
So,
really enjoy a plot twist when it's
yeah.
done well.
Yes. Well, there's lots of different things that go into the story that feed how good that plot twist is going to be. So I've got 3 films which I think have a great plot twists. So,
Skip this bit if you don't want to know which films have plot twists.
so I'm going to talk about. It's very short. It's about Get Out, Last Night in Soho, and Knives Out. That's what I'm going to talk
Right,
about
I haven't
here.
seen Last Night in Soho.
It's really good.
I've seen the trailers. Get
Do you want
Out.
to know?
Yeah, you can tell me.
Okay.
Get Out shook me.
I love Jordan Peele. Jordan
So
Peele.
good.
Every single film is a banger, like a
I haven't
straight
watched
banger.
Us, but I know I need to watch it.
It's so good. Like he's just fantastic, and especially
Yeah.
because he helps with the direction of stuff as
Yeah.
well. Like when the family are getting, I think this is in Us. Do you want to know?
No, you can tell me. It's okay.
Okay.
I know the
So-
premise of the film.
I'm pretty sure it's in Us where like the family is getting murdered, but like there's a song in the background, and it's like call the police, or something like that. It's just it's comedic yet effective.
Well, he was a comedian, wasn't he?
Yeah, Key and Peele, yeah. So Get Out, the twist in it is that the Armitage family are using the bodies of black people to hold half of the brains of the Armitage's friends and families so that they can extend their life.
It's crazy.
I
remember
so good.
Do you remember the bit in it where it's like an auction?
So they're playing bingo, but it actually turns out that they were auctioning off Chris, the main guy.
that's when I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm.
Levi, I've watched a lot of, it was very reminiscent of the actual auctions of people that used to happen.
That's crazy,
You
isn't
know,
it?
like if you watch like 12 Years a Slave or
Yeah.
Roots,
Mm.
scenes like that in those films,
Mm.
Levi was looking at me and he was going, Tony, think. And I was going, because he was like, just something, because I was like, something's not right. And he was like, correct, but think. And I was there and I was like, oh my God, they're selling him.
Yeah. Yeah. They're selling
Really,
him.
really good.
Yeah. We do talk about I talk about Get Out again in another sort of
Fantastic.
device later on as well.
Yeah.
So the second one is Last Night in Soho, Anya Taylor-Joy
Yeah.
as like the
Matt
main
Smith's in
character.
it, isn't he?
Matt Smith, yeah, and
Thomasin McKenzie.
Thomasina, yeah, Thomasina
Yeah.
McKenzie.
Matt
She's
Smith.
great as well. She's in Old, and she's amazing in Old as well.
Oh, Sam Clayton's in it,
Hmm.
who is Finnick
Hmm.
from the Hunger Games.
So, Last Night in Soho, the big twist in Last Night at Soho, is that the ending comes with a major identity reveal that Ellie's landlady, Mrs. Collins, is actually Sandy Ellie that we saw in the flashbacks throughout the film. So
How
she
does that make
dies
any sense?
because we see a flashback of this girl. It turns out that she can like see the past or something like
Okay.
that. It's like a bit of a psychological thriller film. So she sees this woman dying in the bedroom that she's currently renting off this other woman, this old woman. But it turns out that the woman, like, she didn't actually physically die. It was just that, like, she sort of disassociated her previous life and made a new life for herself.
Okay.
She still lives in that house. So she thought that she died, but she didn't. Her like mental state of her previous life had died.
I think I need to watch it because that makes
It's
no
really good.
sense.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. And then the last one, Knives Out. So the killer was Jack, but the plan was spoiled when Marta gave Jack's granddad the correct drug and
Yeah.
not the one that Jack had mixed up,
Yeah.
which I did not see that coming. I mean, the
When
whole
when he
film,
shouldn't have even died in the first place.
yeah, he shouldn't have died. He
Yeah.
wouldn't have died in the first place, but I'm pretty sure I've only watched it recently. Like, she said to him, like, I can't find the, you know, the
So
the
it's not
what
the answer to it, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't find it. And I think she tells him, or I can't remember, you'll have to cut all this out.
No, it's fine.
Anyway, okay, so
No,
that's just
but
plot
because
twists in general.
the reason we figure out that she didn't do it is because what's his name? Daniel Craig guy changed the labels on the thing and made her pick them up. And because
Yeah,
she's so experienced, she knows the weight of them in her
yeah,
hand, so she
yeah.
can do it without even reading the labels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So yeah,
it's a great twist.
really good. Yeah.
So the next one is anagorasis. Anagorasis, I think it's pronounced. So it's a moment in a play or film or work of writing when a character makes a critical discovery. Anagorasis originally meant recognition in its Greek context, so not only of a person, but of what that person stood for as well. So the anagorasis was the hero's sudden awareness of a real situation, the realization of things as they stood, the hero's insight into a relationship with often an antagonistic character in Aristotelian like tragedy. So the truth of the character's relationship or identity with another main character. This
I've
is a
got an
turning point.
example.
This is a turning point in the story that leads to the resolution after the climax. Go on.
Frozen, when we realise Hans is a nasty boy.
Yeah, yeah. So in this bit, I'm going to talk about Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and Fight Club. So if you don't want to
Yeah.
know,
I've seen
skip ahead.
those.
So the most famous one is when Luke finds out that Darth Vader is his father.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, so the biggest one is that when Luke finds out that Darth Vader is his father, and he's all like, no.
Yeah.
The next one is when Jon Snow realizes what like his birthright is, that like he's the son of Lyanna Stark and the Baratheon household. So he's technically next in line, but at the end of have you seen the end of Game of Thrones?
No.
No, what?
So he's Rob Stark's sister's kid.
Yeah.
Not Rob. The
Ned.
Ned Stark's sister and the
I'm so
king's
sorry.
kid.
You said you know all
No,
of
it's
these.
fine. Is he the king? The king. Why did he keep it a
So,
secret?
so what happened? I do want to do an episode on
Right,
Game of
we can
Thrones
cut
'cause
this
it's
out. Let's just have a chat
very.
because I need to know what's going on here. Yeah.
And then, so the last one is Tyler's identity in Fight Club as well.
Yeah.
When you realise that he's Brad Pitt as well. I think
Yeah.
he's got is it DID?
Yeah, DID.
Okay, so the next one is flashbacks. Analepsis, a sudden, vivid reversion to a past event. So this surprises the reader with previously unknown information that then solves the mystery. It places the character in a different light, or it reveals the reason for a previously inexplicable action. Flashbacks can reveal the true identity of one of the characters. So I'm going to talk about Ratatouille, Titanic. That's it. I've got here for
Yeah.
flashback, but
Yeah.
flashbacks are so common.
Ratatouille was
So
great.
Ratatouille, when the critic eats the food and he remembers his mum's
Yeah.
cooking. I think that's one of the best flashbacks.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the whole of Titanic was a flashback. The entirety of the
I
film.
haven't watched Titanic.
Well, now you know that the whole of
Yeah.
it is a flashback. At the very beginning of the film, we're like talking to an old lady and she's like, "Ah, the sea." Ah. And she finds the necklace.
Other ones, Green Mile.
Yeah.
Because he's like the old guy at the start, isn't he? And then he goes and feeds that little mouse.
Mm.
That's like the immortal mouse.
Yeah. Okay. And so the next one I've got is cliffhangers. The use of cliffhangers in TV. So a cliffhanger ending is a plot device in fiction which features a main character in a precarious or a difficult dilemma or confronted with a shocking revelation at the end of an episode. Cliffhangers hope to incentivize the audience to return to see how the characters resolve that dilemma. So I'm going to talk about Walking Dead, The Simpsons, and Doctor Who. So if you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead. Walking Dead, episode 1, season 1. Rick is trapped in a tank and then hears a voice on the radio. And you're all like, oh, I need to go to the next episode. Got to get to the next episode. The
I
next
haven't seen
one,
it, so I can't comment on that one.
it's really good. I think Walking Dead, like the first few seasons, are really good, and then it's like they're just trying to like stretch out as much as possible. Like
Yeah.
so much character development happens, and there's like a million seasons. I think it's still going. I don't even know.
I think it might be, you know.
Probably. It came out in like 2009 or something ridiculous. It came out in 2000. It came out Halloween. I think it's 2010 actually. Because I remember when I was looking at that, I was like, oh, Tony was
Oh
only
no,
9.
it has finished. It finished in
Oh, okay.
2022.
Oh, right, okay. So it was only not long ago, but it's been out
Yeah.
since like 2010.
Yeah.
Gee, 12 years. 12 years of character development.
Yeah.
That's too much time. It's too long.
Yeah.
The next one in The Simpsons. Who killed your dad?
Mr.
Who killed
Burns.
Mr. Burns? Yeah.
I
It's a
don't know.
cliffhanger episode. Have you seen that episode? It's one of the
Probably in my childhood, yeah.
It's one of the this particular episode of Who Killed Mr. Burns is so well known. Do you want to know who killed him?
Of course.
It was Maggie, the baby. She's like in a car. He's drunk, and he comes over to the car, and he's like, "Oh, there's a baby in this random car. Whose baby is this?" I think he pulls out a gun because I think he thinks that he's in danger or something, but he ends up dropping it through the window, and it lands on Maggie. And obviously, because she's a baby, she ends up turning and pointing the gun and triggering the gun, which
He definitely did that on purpose.
inadvertently kills Mr. Burns, and it's this big
Crazy.
whodunit. Yeah, it was a
Wow.
good episode. I remember I saw it when it came out on the TV, and for like a whole week I was like asking everyone like, "What do you think? What happened? Like,
So
how
is
did
it
he?"
like a two-parter?
Yeah, it was a two-parter
Yeah.
episode.
Wow.
And then the last bit I've got in Doctor Who. Having absorbed a bunch of vortexes, the Doctor is struggling on the verge of regeneration. Turns to Rose, Billy Piper, Christopher Eccleston's incarnation of Doctor Who, utters the lines, "Before I go, I just wanted to tell you, you were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? So was I. And then the introduction of David Tennant.
Yeah.
That was a big cliffhanger. I remember when that happened.
A lot of the regenerations end up being cliffhangers. Because
Yeah.
it's like, they'll wake up, say their first line, and then it'll
Yeah.
go off, and then we've got to wait like 6 months.
Yeah, he says something like, well, "Where are we, Barcelona?" or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yep. So that is cliffhangers. The next one is the unreliable narrator.
Love.
So, this is quite a lot. I've got quite a lot of information here. The unreliable narrator twists the ending by revealing, almost always, at the end of the narrative, that the narrator has manipulated or fabricated the story, forcing the reader to question their prior assumptions about the text. So Agatha Christie did all of this. Another example of an unreliable narrator is the character who's been revealed to be insane and then causes the audience to question the whole of what they've already seen.
Shutter Island.
Yeah, Shutter Island's one of them. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of different subgenres inside unreliable narrator. So there's a naive narrator where they're unreliable because of their lack of experience. These are often children. An outside narrator could be someone that's new in town or is a different racial or socioeconomic background than the rest of the characters. Picario is a narrator who likes to embellish or exaggerate stories. Sometimes these narrators make the best storytellers, but the readers have to keep a tendency to work towards hyperbole in mind. Insane narrators, someone who's lost touch with reality or is otherwise insane, can tell a compelling story, but that might not reflect the truth. And then a pure liar, someone who deceives. They're very rare to find, but they tell a nuanced story as the reader needs to try and sort fact from fiction. So, when writing as an unreliable narrator, you need to present the character as stable and confident in the beginning part of the story so that you can then win the belief of the reader at the end when you throw in, haha, he's got like DID or he's insane or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 here.
Okay.
So I'm going to look at Life of Pi,
Yeah.
Alex in A Clockwork Orange, and then Shutter Island, because everyone knows and
Can
loves
I add?
Shutter Island. Yeah.
Have you seen Memento?
Yes, it's on this list.
Yeah. That's like, it's not his fault, but he can't remember. I really
Yeah.
like Memento because it's not in the right order. Like the
Yes.
story,
Yeah.
and I think that's so, like, you're experiencing the confusion
Mhm.
alongside the main character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really,
It's
really
great.
good. Would recommend.
So in Life of Pi, Pi alters the story to process what's happened, with his family dying and
Yeah.
everything going on. So in A Clockwork Orange, which is my favourite book, and I also have a tattoo of Clockwork Orange because
Yeah.
the story is so good. So he's a sociopath and he's also drunk whilst he tells the story. And I've put as well, the book is written in a Russian English slang, which covers what's actually happening with unknown made up words to make it seem like he's not doing what he's actually doing.
Yeah. Oh, you still need to
So
read it.
it's really, I've got the book here for you, like I
Yeah.
said.
I'll come and get it.
So at the back of the book, there's like an index
Yeah.
where it tells you what those Russian English slang words mean. So if you're reading it, it can be really annoying to read and be like, oh, what does this have for whatever? What does this mean? And then you have to flick to the back of the story and you're like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
that's so bad. I
Yeah.
don't believe that that's in the story. And then you'll flick back and continue reading and you're like, what? And then Shutter Island. So there's lots of different ways in the story that makes that when you're reading the book or watching the film, it makes you sort of think like, oh, that's not right. So in Shutter Island, when Marshall arrived, the guards look really stern. Well, because Marshall is really their most violent and dangerous criminal. He had to hand over his firearms without any explanation. The head doctor wouldn't hand over any information on the staff. The psychiatrist left that morning on the ferry, and then one inmate scribbled on a napkin for Marshall to run because she knows that he's a criminal, as well. So I don't know if you want to add any more to Shutter Island.
No, I'm reading the index from Clockwork Orange.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There's loads of words.
Yeah. Okay. So next we've got Peppetia. So
Yeah.
Peppatia goes hand in hand with anagnosis. So it's the sudden reversal of the protagonist's fortune, whether good or bad, which emerges naturally from the character's circumstances. So the word peripetia means reversal in Greek, and it's a rhetorical literary device coined by Aristotle. So
Cool.
in Psycho, so I'm going to talk about Psycho, Get Out again, and then Arrival as well.
Oh, Arrival's really good.
So in Psycho, the moment of Peripetia occurs right at the moment of Marion's death, when the realization and horror dawns on her. So her fortune's gone really bad because she ends up getting killed. In Get Out, Chris goes to his girlfriend's room to pack. However, he makes the discovery that a stash of photos of Rose and other black people that she's been dating, even though she said to him that he's her first black boyfriend. So he's like, she's lied to me. I remember in that scene, I remember finding it and being like, oh, why would she lie about something like this? Like, that makes
Yeah.
zero sense. And then obviously as the film progresses, you're like, oh no, this isn't good.
Yeah.
And then also in Arrival. So sometimes anagnosis takes place without Peripetia and vice versa. An example of this is in Arrival. At the end of the third act, the audience realizes that the protagonist, Louise, her flashbacks interprecede throughout the story. They're actually glimpses into the future. And through the twist, it's not a moment of Peripetia because it doesn't change her circumstances, only the audience's interpretation of what they've been watching. So for
It's
Peripetia to occur
amazing.
in the story, the character needs to experience a change in their internal or external circumstances.
It's really good.
Yeah, I really love Arrival. I think it's,
Yeah.
I can't remember when it came out. It was a couple of years ago now.
2016.
Oh, it's so good though.
Yeah.
I would
really, really
recommend that.
good.
Okay, the next one is a Deus Ex Machina. So I did a little bit more research on a Deus Ex Machina because you were like asking me questions. I was like, oh, I don't know.
This
So
is a fan favourite of mine.
so I've had a look. So Deus Ex Machina is a Latin term meaning God from the machine. It refers to an unexpected, artificial, or improbable character, device, or event introduced suddenly in a work of fiction to resolve a situation or to untangle a plot. In ancient Greek theatre, the Deus Ex Machina was the character of a Greek god literally brought onto the stage via a crane or mechane, so which is where machina comes from.
That's really funny.
So they will literally fly this person in on a crane on a stage
Just
and
solve the
then
problem.
as a god, yeah, and then they would just make this problem disappear basically. So it's brought to a resolution by this god's will. The term is now used for any improbable or unexpected contrarian by which an author resolves the complications of the plot. And it happens all the time, as we've seen obviously with Coraline, when she's just about to run out of time and then the cat drops the last eyeball. So yeah, I'm going to talk about Coraline, Jurassic World, and Shaun of the Dead in this part.
Oh,
So then, yeah, the next one, Jurassic World, as we spoke about the other night, when the dinosaur eats the velociraptors. So the
Jurassic
family,
Park.
yeah. Did I say?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, I've put World down. Oh, I was meant to put
Park.
Park. So in Jurassic Park, when the dinosaur eats the velociraptors, when the family are all, they're cornered basically by the velociraptors, and then somehow, because in the beginning of the film, when the dinosaur walks, he makes the ground shake. But
Yeah.
when they're cornered by 3 velociraptors, he's like on his little tippy toes, sneaking in, like he.
They're too stressed out to notice.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's make that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then the last bit, in Shaun of the Dead, when they finally get to the Winchester, the army puts an end to the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Thanks,
Which
guys.
I didn't realize about that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was an Ex Machina. I think
I
because
feel like
it's so long since I've seen it.
it's when an author or a scriptwriter has written themselves into a plot hole.
Yeah,
And we
and
need
they're
to get
like,
out.
how do we get out of this in the
Yeah.
next like 10 pages?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next one, we've only got a couple more to go. So the next one is a red herring. So, a red
Oh yeah.
herring is a false clue intended to lead investigators towards an incorrect solution. So, this device usually appears in detective novels or mystery fictions. The red herring is a type of misdirection and a device intended to distract the protagonist by to distract the protagonist away from the correct answer. For them so that they can't solve whatever it is that they're solving. So the purpose of a red herring is to distract the reader or listener from an actual issue being discussed in a conversation or a piece of writing. So in this bit, I'm going to talk about Saw, Harry Potter, and Lost. So again, if you don't want to know, skip ahead.
Yep.
So in Saw, the dead body in the room is actually alive, and it's John Kramer, who's trapped the guy in the room. Mr. Gordon had diagnosed with brain cancer. Do you remember?
I have
This
not seen it.
So in Saw, they're basically trapped in a room. It's like so in TV, it's called a bottle episode, where like the whole episode is
In one
inside
place.
in one place. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in Community, they do a bottle episode and they're
Have you
stuck in the
seen
room.
the episode of Doctor Who called Midnight and they're on that like bus?
Yes. On is it a
That's a really
train?
good one. Yeah, it's like a train
It's a
and there's stuff
train. Yeah.
outside and you never
That's
see what the thing
yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
they're all
Yeah.
just in that. Yeah, really
So
good.
that's the bottle episode. Supernatural also do a bottle episode as well, where they're in the car. It's great.
I mean, the film 12 Angry Men all occurs in the same room.
Yeah. There's
So,
loads of different stuff. So, in Saw specifically, John Kramer is the mastermind behind Saw, and he makes all these traps and contraptions, and he basically kills people who he thinks deserve to die by basically like torturing them.
yeah.
So Mr. Gordon is trapped in the room by John Kramer. However, Mr. Gordon was John Kramer's doctor who told him that he had brain cancer.
So
Yeah.
he's kind of getting revenge. Shoot the messenger, literally.
Well, I can't remember if he actually has brain cancer, but I'm pretty sure there's like 6 Saw films at this point. So maybe he didn't have brain cancer?
Or it was just a slow one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can't really remember. But that's a bit of a red herring because you think that that person on the floor is dead, but he's not. He's actually alive. And twist in the story, it's also the main Saw guy.
Yeah.
So the next one, in Harry Potter, Sirius Black is said to be a crazed killer.
Yeah.
Word gets out he's escaped Azkaban. However, Black actually wants to protect Harry from the real killer, who's Peter Pettigrew, who is Ron's rat.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know he's here somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's the
And
red
he
herring.
sounds crazy because they're like, what are you talking about? And then he
Yeah.
like transforms.
Yeah. And then Lost. I don't know if you've ever seen Lost.
I haven't, but I know. I know about
I
it.
love
It's
Lost.
Tom Hanks, isn't it?
No,
Here it is.
no, it's a TV show.
What's the film?
The one
Where
with
he has the
Tom
ball.
Hanks.
Yeah, Castaway.
Castaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. That's
Yeah,
a bottle
sorry.
episode now. That's a
Doesn't
bottle
matter
film.
then.
He's stuck on a
Yeah, an
desert
island.
island. So in Lost, basically, the second timeline of season 6 is an alternate timeline.
Okay.
So basically, it doesn't exist.
Pretty cool.
Like, so that's a red herring. So you watch the other half of season 6 and you're like, what is going on? Because the plane hasn't crashed. You should watch
cool.
Lost.
Yeah.
I really like Lost. Okay, next one. A false protagonist. A false protagonist is a character presented at the start of the story as the main character, but then is disposed of or usually killed to emphasize that they won't return.
1917.
Is that what happens in 1917?
Have you watched it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we think that guy's the main...
guy. Yeah.
And then he dies,
Yeah.
like, straight away.
I need to rewatch 1917. I only saw it
'Cause
when it came
in
out.
the trailer, he's the main guy in the trailer, and you're like, what?
Is
And then he
he?
dies. No, I think so. Well, it's the both of them. You think the story's going to follow the both of
Right.
them making this journey, and then he
Mm.
dies. But yeah.
So I'm going to talk about Psycho, Scream, and Game of Thrones in this bit. So The obvious first one is Marion in Psycho, who dies halfway through the film after taking all of the money from her work. The next one is Scream. So Drew Barrymore was at like the height of her, career around
She's
the
an
time
icon.
when
She is an
Scream
icon.
came out. And she's literally in it for like 10 minutes, like that
Yeah.
beginning opening scene, and then she gets killed by Scream. And
Love
then
that.
Game of Thrones as well. Ned's killed at the end of the first season.
Yeah.
And we all think he's gonna be, the main person
Yeah.
in the TV show. And then he dies at the end of the season, and you're like, oh no, this show isn't gonna be
Yeah, I remember watching it because
predictive.
I only watched Game of Thrones like last year for the first time,
Mm,
and I was watching it with Levi,
yeah.
and he was with his head in the thing, ready to get chopped, and I was
And you
like,
think a Deus Ex
they're
Machina
not
is
gonna do
coming
it.
anytime
Yeah,
soon.
I was like, no, he's gonna call it off. He's gonna call it off. He's gonna call it, and then no, it does happen. I was like,
And then
what?
Aya watches from the back on top of
Yeah,
the statue, and you're like, oh no, she's
yeah,
just a child.
yeah.
Okay, I've only got three more
Okay.
to go. So next is a non-linear narrative.
Love
So
Memento.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's not. It is technically linear. Memento. We'll get to it. Don't worry. It's the
Okay.
next one. So a non-linear narrative works by revealing plots and characters in a non-chronological order. This technique requires the reader to attempt to piece together the timeline in order to fully understand the story. So a twist ending can occur as the result of information that is held until the climax and then places the characters or events in a different perspective. So I'm going to talk about Kill Bill, Arrival, and The Time Traveler's Wife.
I've only seen Arrival out of those, but it's
Oh
okay.
yeah, you should watch Kill Bill.
I
Kill Bill
know.
was the first non-linear narrative film that I watched, and I remember being so confused. But then when I realised what was going on, I had to pause the film and I drew a line and I was plotting like where things happened because I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I've got to figure this out. Like it made me stop the film and
Yeah.
sort of be like, right, this goes here, then this happened, and then she was at the hospital, and then this
Yeah.
happened, and then she was at
There's a
the
lot of classic
wherever.
films that I've been reluctant to watch because I'm like, are they overhyped?
Hmm.
But I should start watching them. I will watch them.
Yeah, I would recommend Kill Bill. So me
Yeah.
and Steve watched the first Kill Bill when we first got together,
Oh,
but he wasn't into it really, and like I've been like, let's watch the second one because we can watch the second one, which it makes the story come full circle, basically. Well,
yeah.
near enough makes the story come full circle, but we've just never gotten around to watching it. And then Arrival, the film is non-linear
Yeah.
as well, also. And then Time Traveler's Wife, obviously, he jumps through time, making the plot non-linear as we follow her and him through the story as well. So that's non-linear. So this is where Memento is. Memento is linear, but it's reverse chronology. The whole
Okay.
film is just the wrong way round.
Okay, I understand.
So, it works by revealing the plot in reverse order from the final event to the initial event, unlike chronological storylines, which progress through causes before reaching a final effect. Reverse chronology.
I was gonna say Tenet, but it's kind of not though, is it?
So I put it.
It's just it does interesting things with time.
Yeah,
Oh no, kind of.
Well, I've listed Tenet as being reverse chronology because half of the film is literally in reverse.
Yeah, yeah,
Like he's fighting himself in reverse,
yeah,
in the hallway and stuff.
yeah.
So, and then Memento as well, which is also in reverse order, which is really interesting because I originally thought that it was non-linear as well.
Yeah, so when you're watching it, it feels like it's just spliced scenes together.
Yeah, but no,
But it's
it
not.
is actually in reverse.
Yeah.
And then the last one that we've got is foreshadowing. So it's a narrative device in which a storyteller gives an advance hint of what's to come later on in the story. Foreshadowing often appears at the beginning and it helps develop or subvert the audience's expectation about the upcoming event. So
Yeah.
I've got Jurassic Park, Shawshank, and Fight Club in this bit.
Yeah.
So Jurassic Park, Mr. Malcolm says nature will find a way. I think
Yeah.
that's a bit obvious. And along with when Alan's in the plane and he's got the two female ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are unfamiliar with this, go back and listen to our Jurassic Park episode. We talk about this in more detail.
Yeah. I've got Shawshank as well. So the warden looks at the Bible and says salvation lies within. And at the end of the movie, it's revealed that the Bible was hollow, and that's where he was hiding the rock hammer that he used to escape. So it
And
turns out
literally salvation lied within his
really
cell
did lie within. Yeah.
because he made a hole in the cell wall.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it, it's so good.
Yeah. And then in Fight Club, so the best foreshadow is when the narrator beats himself up in front of his boss. And and this is what reminds him of his first fight with Tyler.
Which is himself.
Because he beats himself up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's fighting Tyler. And those men come over and go, hey, look, this is crazy guy fighting himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what I decided to do this week.
I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's educational, it's interesting. Might be a little bit boring. I feel like it's a lot of films to talk about.
But whenever you bring something up now in future, we can tell people to come back to this episode.
This is a red herring. Oh, this is Perpetia.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'll know what's going on now.
Cliffhanger.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's A-level media class.
No, but I didn't do A-level media, so.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I liked it. That's why I did film.
I did A-level history, so. And then a history degree.
No.
So.
No, I did GCSE history and they were like, don't choose it for A-level. And I was like, I'm not going to.
That's very nice.
No, I was better at other stuff, so. And now I've got a master's in part of history.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't failed yet. So.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, well, this has been episode 7. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe and comment.
Follow
and
us on social media.
Follow and download all that
Talk
fun
to
stuff.
us.
What?
Talk to us.
Oh, I thought you said topless.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, wait, you have to pay for that.
That's the premium tier that's coming soon.
Like a topless maid, but topless podcast.
Oh, God, imagine.
Hey, I think I'm onto something there.
I think we are onto something. I think we'll get more viewers. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Let us know in the poll if you want that. I'm joking, I'm not putting that on the poll.
Why? Because you're scared the answer will be yes.
Oh, God, imagine. Oh, goodness.
We'd have 2 votes. Steve and Levi.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks
we'll see you next
week. Bye. Yeah. I was going to make some sort of Anchorman reference, but I couldn't think of anything.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next week for some history.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.